Let's come together, we are made for life. Let's come together, we are made for life.
Vatra, made for all, made for life. Trade Kings, improving lives.
Diamond TV, television reinvented.
Good evening, you're watching Biz-Week with me, Wendson Mavoro. Now, in the less than 24 hours, the inauguration ceremony that will see the transfer of instruments of power from Patriotic Front President Edgar Lungu to President-elect Hakainde Hichilema of the United Party for National Development will take place, marking the beginning of what the UPND leader has termed the new era, not only in governance but also economic management where Zambia is concerned. His election has obviously sent some, positive vibes across the financial markets, as we have seen the kwacha starting to perform better, being ranked actually by international media outlets such as Bloomberg as one of the best performing currencies in the world. Apart from that, we've interacted with business professionals who have expressed optimism over Mr. Hichilema's election with regards economic performance, but all that will be given potential to be able to commence as to people getting to see exactly whether Mr. Hichilema will walk the talk after tomorrow when the instruments of power are handed over to him. This evening on Biz-Week, we are discussing illicit trade and its impact on the Zambian economy, and I will be talking to Florence Muleya from the Zambia Association of Manufacturers, and of course we will be delving into other areas with regards economic governance, with regards also the coming in of the new administration. Good evening, Florence. Good evening, Florence. All right, so as we try to get Florence back online, the priority obviously that we are trying to look at this evening is one such sector that has been identified in the 7th National Development Plan, which is manufacturing sector. If you look at Zambia's geographical vantage, one of the things that we get to notice is that Zambia has the potential to not only emerge as one of the economic giants within the region, but also has got the potential to be able to feed into the 8 countries that surround the country, for it to be able to leverage on opportunities that do present. We will come back shortly as we try to rectify a glitch and of course connect our guest for this evening, the Chief Executive Officer for the Zambia Association for Manufacturers. See you shortly.
I think it was.
Thirsty Juices, a family of flavors.
We are a of green. food. Green from heights that inspire our thunder. Green from the place that sparked our freedom. Green from places that ignite our passion. Green is the color of our hope, of our pride. Green from moments that bring us together. We're bringing all our greens together for Mossy's new look. Our Mossy, our green.
We love to wash, wash, wash. Looking so good. We love to wash, wash, wash. Smelling so fresh. We love to wash, wash, wash. With bullet washing powder.
That's right. We all love to wash our laundry to make it look clean and smell fresh. That's why, with Bullet Washing Powder's new improved formula, you can remove the most stubborn dirt and toughest stains.
With just a little sprinkle, the heat is gone. So easy on your colors and your hands too. Your laundry smelling fresh, soft and clean. Bullet Washing Powder.
Joe, look! I have become famous on Facebook and TikTok.
Congrats, Judy. You have become a TikTok star.
Guess what? 4,000 people have already liked my video.
Wow! You know of them?
Of course not. But to get more followers, I randomly send requests to strangers and also accept all requests.
Oh, alright.
Oh no! Who did this? Who is the person who outed my photo?
Why are you crying?
Wait, I need to report this to the child helpline. They will help me.
To find out more about how to be safe online, call the toll-free lines 116 Childline or 7070 Zicta. Zicta. Zicta.
Mafum, I'm here to know about the gift that you're offering your people. How is it possible to give courage, energy, and power? Mafum.
Meet the one true king.
The one true king. The one true king. I've got the energy.
Black Panther, coming in 3 flavors.
Hi, I'm DJ Drogba. On average, almost 250,000 people die on the road in Africa each year. As a proud African, this breaks my heart knowing that so many deaths could have been avoided. So when you're on the roads, follow these safe steps and help save lives. Drivers and pedestrians share the same responsibility of keeping themselves and others safe. Your eyes and ears are your best safety tools. Avoid using electronic devices that distract your attention. Stay on sidewalks. If there is no footpath, walk on the edge of the road facing oncoming traffic. At a road crossing, stop, look both ways, listen, and then cross. And please, never play in or near roads. So when you're on the roads, follow these safe steps and help save lives. We all have a role to play in road safety. Together, let's make Africa's road safer.
Trade on the Zambian economy, and of course I'm interacting with the Chief Executive Officer from the Zambia Association of Manufacturers, Florence, Muleya, and we will be talking at the backdrop of the inauguration ceremony of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema that will be taking place tomorrow, that will see him assume the instruments of power and of course marking a new dawn into what Zambians' governance and economic outlook could potentially become following what he has promised, not only in his various speeches, but also in the party manifesto of the United Party for National Development. Good evening, Florence. So to be able to interact and take part in the show, all you simply have to do is call 0974-754719. Let us know what you think and what your expectations are, as tomorrow Zambia's 7th Republican president will be ushered into office, and of course a lot has been promised, and as an ordinary Zambian we would want to hear on this platform exactly what your expectations are at personal level. Having a new leadership yet again in the history of Zambia, what is it that you would like to see now that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, popularly known as Bali, will be assuming the top office of the land, which is the office of the presidency? The number is scrolling on the screen, or rather displaying on the screen right now. So let us know what it is that you think. Florence, are you with me? All right, so a number of things have actually been happening. If you look at the manufacturing sector, it is one of those key sectors that, plays an integral role when it comes to charting the course of Zambia's economy. It is one sector that with the proper investment, with proper, policy framework, has the potential to not only help to address the issue of unemployment, but can also help to change the economic fortunes of Zambia. In my interactions with different young people, and of course different age groups, one of the things that I've come to learn is that most young Zambians have talent that if properly nurtured, if properly guided, can be revolutionizing when it comes to the manufacturing sector itself. And these are some of the players that, if incorporated in, can be able to become maybe that game-changing, ideas or businesses that can mushroom and begin to grow in terms of changing the landscape of the Zambian economy. Hence, today specifically, few hours before Mr. Hakainde Hichilema gets inaugurated, we are looking at the manufacturing sector, because this is what we want to hear. Now, a lot of things, of course, have been said, with regards what they expect, the new government to be able to do, ending poverty, addressing the issues of the high cost of living and all that, but to be able to build a sustainable economy that can ensure that ordinary Zambians are able to earn, or rather make ends meet. The manufacturing sector is one area that you cannot avoid. As we know, government is the biggest employer, but obviously cannot take in everybody on their payroll. But if people start, embrace the entrepreneurial spirit and start building their own businesses, building their own fortunes, ultimately, Zambia will become a prosperous middle-income nation. Mr. Moses is joining me. Good evening, Mr. Moses.
Hey, wakana mama bombashan.
Hey, I'm Kwaiba Moses Munishan. Hey, what is your comment and contribution this evening?
Hey, wakana mbano kulanda bubi my expectation. What do you expect the president ya reisa bakaramba? Tulekuwa wa president bakaramba natukwata natural resources yayengi sana mu kyalo kyesu kya Zambia mamona. So tulekuwa ya previous government ifindu tabafipompeshe buno bakalama mamona yalampera ko exam to alikuwa tamukula ne igoje otusangire kwa Mazambian mamona igoje na tata expecting ngebere ya goje barabika fe mino ya government bike mwendala mamulya government yambo kula funya uli omukuba goje mamona, so that if kwa ma youth na Mazambian bonse tukasekere mu mamona bakalama okutira bapere ba muisa bambo kula bombera pali kile kintu tulairira tyo ama maini yaba mino yaba muisa mamona ilya gold mine ya bakalamba ni opportunity kalamba zania kwati ifo kwa Mazambian kwebeni government yabika mwendalama no kuingisha kwa ma youth sinchito mamona twambo kula kunya uli omukuba and then chalo cha Zambia chambo kula ishishe chino kutira mwapera ba muisa bakalamba ne economy tudanda wala pali dola shani nenko ngore twakwata kuti twalipira muline mamona kuti in second mukula 3 mamona pali mukula 3 bakalamba mukula 3 lyanga twayibombya byo bwino naye nakiya tulipire shinkongolo sho tukwete, so ndechitaba ebeju echi ngebyo twabavotera tulefwa ivi twabavotera abantu bonse bakalamba balefwa change tulefwa bonse tumone change so that ibintu bichite improve bonse twambokula mona ukubomba bonse twambokula sekera mu Zambian osati filibo cyari mu previous government bakalamba mukupulitisha bamofye ebale sekera mu Zambian tuletamba ko bintu byesu fileya and then bambye balebika mapoga, so iki kintu tatulefwa government.
Okay, but Moses, thank you very much. Allow me so that we can accommodate other callers as well. Okay. Okay, Mr. Moses, thank you very much for joining us on Biz-Week this evening. And of course, we still want to hear what your expectations are as Zambia's 7th president will be, sworn in the next few hours. And Florence is joining me this evening. Good evening, Florence.
Good evening, Wendson, and good evening to the viewers.
Thank you very much. It's good to have you on finally after all the challenges.
Indeed, indeed.
All right, so Florence, first things first, the manufacturing sector, I was, in my preamble explaining that is a very, very important sector that has the potential to change Zambia's economic outlook for the benefit of not only a few, privileged, but for the entire populace and the masses at large. What are your expectations as the new 7th president will be tomorrow receiving instruments of power?
So thanks once again. For the manufacturers, the main message really is around the cost of doing business. I would like to see a landscape where we could have more citizens and people going into manufacturing. But right now, the cost to go into the manufacturing sector is quite exorbitant. So you find that for a small SME that maybe just wants to go into a simple manufacturing business such as water purification, just in legal, not only legal but regulatory fees, they have to pay something close to 150,000. So if this can be rationalized and reduced, we would see more players going into the manufacturing sector, especially the smaller SMEs. And as you rightly put it, manufacturing is the base that will hold this country and ensure that we move forward in industrializing. So if these costs continue to be there, then it means that we can have only a few people operating in the
Florence, obviously manufacturing is very, very important when it comes to ensuring that Zambia's export base is enhanced. And what I'd like to find out from you is what can be done to ensure that Zambia's, trade scenario changes from a country that predominantly imports to a country that can start exporting to be able to leverage on the 8 countries that are potential markets to Zambia even as we speak.
Okay. So with respect to being able to export, manufacturing is currently only sending out 14% of the non-traditional exports. And as we know, non-traditional exports are sitting around about 25% because copper and its products take up about 70 to 75% of exports. But we need to see this change. And in ensuring that this changes, we need to start utilizing our local raw materials and put them into the manufacturing space. For example, currently, an item such as cotton, Zambia is the 3rd largest producer of raw cotton as well as lint. But because we don't have the manufacturing base, we are seeing ourselves exporting out all that cotton out of this country. So we need that investment environment that allows for manufacturers to be able to now start turning that raw cotton into items such as fabric as well as thread, and then we should be able to see more clothes and other materials coming out of this economy. But as long as we continue to export most of our raw materials in their raw form, then we miss out on the opportunity to add value locally and be able to raise forex. And so it is very cardinal that we utilize these spaces, these gaps where we currently don't have manufacturing happening locally and start to locally manufacture. So we are calling on local content utilization. If we do have a policy that ensures that we can utilize our local resources before we send them out, then we should be able to see manufacturing grow.
You can simply call the numbers displaying on the screen right now to be able to take part of this conversation, and we would want to know exactly what your expectations are as an ordinary Zambians as tomorrow the new dawn in terms of governance and Zambia's economic management commences following the inauguration ceremony of President-elect Hakainde Hichilema. Florence, you mentioned something very, very important, the issue of value addition, and I was looking at the Zambia Statistics Agency report, and in there I saw that for the month of June, Zambia only made 19.1 billion kwacha, as total export value, copper being predominantly, one of those items that Zambia is sending out to Switzerland. Tying it to the issue of value addition that you spoke about, how critical is this in terms of ensuring that such a figure changes to the benefit of Zambia? But before you answer, allow me to bring in Vincent. Good evening, Mr. Vincent.
Yes, please, sir. How are you? Good morning. Good evening, sir.
Very much okay. You're through to Biz-Week. What is your comment, quick question or contribution?
Actually, I just, since, we're having a new government, I think we new ideas, new strategies, how to develop. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, we need new ideas, new strategies, and I think we need to just go back to the basics. Me, I'm a marketeer by a professional.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm found in New Soweto market. I think it's high time we start looking at the basics, because last we are coming from a very hard situation of COVID and other things. Business have scrambled. So maybe for me, I would just suggest maybe the new government will bring the citizen empowerment commissions, like in Oma, they bring them in markets, they open up offices in markets, so they start building people from the ground. For instance, in Tanzania, they have done that before. That's why we have a lot of people in Tanzania with a lot of cash, local people, because the government empowers the people at the basic, at the point of business. Not whereby start going to the offices, don't have a business. So they have to come to where you're already running a business. Then they find ways and means how to develop you, how to make you to become a big businessman. Which means start small, like you get 1,000, you pay back, you get 2,000, you pay back, you get 4,000. From there we'll develop. Those who are weak, those who are lazy, don't fall out. We end up having people borrowing millions. That's why if you go to Kariakoo, find people building hotels, they borrow millions of dollars because the government started with them for a long time. They have developed now into big business people. So I'll suggest the Citizen Empowerment Commission comes in 2 markets.
All right. Thank you very much.
The other suggestion I had is a suggestion about farmers. I'm a farmer as well.
Okay, so Mr. Vincent, I'm going to ask you to be very, very brief with your second suggestion. Very, very brief, so that we have time to accommodate other people that would like to tell us what their expectations are.
Less than 30 seconds, sir.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, less than 30 seconds, sir. Yes. I'm a farmer, so the other suggestion I had is, we have a lot of markets around Zambia, like Congo, Sudan. Why can't the government bring me a deal like if you produce, like roughly I produce 10 tons of maize, the government can buy 5 tons, the other 5 tons they give me the permit to export it. They get 50% of my produce, 50% they allow me to export it. It's a done deal.
Right.
Government wins, I also win something. They control the price of new milk because I have to sell half of what I have to them, and half of it I have to export it. So if they can be able to come with such kind of a policy, we all win, starting from villagers upstairs.
All right, Mr. Vincent, thank you very much for those powerful ideas. I really, really appreciate, and of course we will, further discuss them. But Florence, coming back to you, 19.1 billion kwacha is what Zambia made in the month of June as total export value. You talked about value addition. How important is value addition to copper being Zambia's mainstay in ensuring that we can increase the total export earnings beyond 19.1 billion kwacha?
Extremely important, and it goes beyond the production of copper rod and copper wire. We are going into a world where copper has become the most important metal, if we could put it that way. Why? Because the world is looking to go towards a very green economy in terms of motor vehicles. And copper is the material that is used in ensuring that the batteries and the power that does not use, for cars that do not use fuel is driven by copper. And so to be able to take advantage of that as an economy, we need to go beyond copper cable and copper wire to more specialized products. For example, you look at your electric kettle, the little copper wires in there. We currently don't have the production base that manages to produce the thin side copper. And so if we can go into addition of value from the copper wire that is used in the Zesco cables right down to those small wires that can be used in your everyday adapter, your electrical plugs, your relays, then it means that we will be able to reap more value coming out of copper.
All right, you can simply take part in today's conversation on Biz-Week by simply letting us know what your expectations are as a new dawn is about to commence tomorrow when the new president-elect will be ushered into office. You can simply call the numbers that are displaying on the screen right now, and I have to emphasize that please be brief with your submission so that we can allow and accommodate more people that would like to be able to state what their expectations are. Florence, Mr. Vincent, our previous caller, did talk about brilliant ideas, bordering on the agricultural sector, such as, a value addition and also opening up, borders in terms of export permits. I'd like to get your mind on that. How critical is value addition when it comes to the agriculture sector in terms of ensuring that Zambia begins to benefit or maximize opportunities for economic benefits and growth? Hello, Florence, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
All right. So from the previous caller, he talked about, ensuring that if a win-win situation is created in the agricultural sector, such as the lifting of, administrative bans on the exports of maize. And maybe before we get to that, allow me to accommodate Mr. Muyunda. Good evening. All right, we seem to have lost Mr. Muyunda. So, Florence, what I'd like to find out from you is how key is value addition in the agricultural sector vis-a-vis the call by our previous caller for government or their new government to consider lifting, administrative bans that were imposed on the export of maize?
Okay. So, with respect to agriculture, even our manufacturing sector currently, with our companies, we are seeing about 46% being based in agro-processing. And most of these are related to items that are maize and maize related. So we see a situation where...
Florence,
yes,
just pardon me. Just allow me to accommodate Senior Headman Ndubula from Mumbwa, who is joining us this evening. So please just hold that thought. Good evening, Mr. Ndubula.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
You are through to Bizweek, sir. What is your quick comment, question, or contribution?
Thank you very much. It's quite an exciting program that you have on. It's a new dawn. We are very excited and motivated as a country. In my village here, we are waiting to watch our 7th Republican president being given the instruments of power. We are thankful to God. As farmers, we are expecting a lot. We are looking at the FISIP program, and we would want to see people graduate from the FISIP program, because you cannot keep people on the FISIP program and expect development in the rural sector. So we would want them to be empowered in a real sense. The package that they have been given so far is not going to the extent of being empowered per se, like to graduate. So we'd want that to improve. Secondly, we are endowed with a lot of minerals in our, rural setup as headmen. We would want to see to it that all the liner ministries, talking about the Ministry of Mines, they should be able to bring policies that can bring partnership with us in the village. So this we expect a lot, because this is the only way in which we are going to develop our villages. The abattoirs are being run by foreigners. We would want to see to it that there's a deliberate policy to empower the youths so that they can have capital to start abattoirs, because we are gifted with a lot of animals in the village. So there's a lot of expectation. I cannot finish them, but I would like to leave, space for other callers. But we are very excited, and we know Zambia will be a prosperous nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Headman Ndubula, joining us from Mumbwa over there. Florence, you may continue.
I'm glad to hear the headman raised quite some cardinal points there. We were speaking about agriculture and the importance of adding value to agricultural products. And so he speaks of the FISIP program and how in its current state it is not empowering people to allow them to graduate. Indeed, that's very... to move from producing just the maize and the grain, the FISIP program should be able to even support items such as machinery, such as shellers, machinery that allows to grind the grain, machinery that allows to move that soybean from the very raw soybean to items such as animal feed, items such as soya pieces and so on and so forth. And in that way, then we can encourage the culture of value addition, because if we are to continue to export that maize in its raw form, what it means is that whoever imports that maize also will provide the jobs for the people in that place where the maize is imported to. But if in our own land we can add, even just at the very basic level, some value, it moves from me and my family packing some few bags of maize to having someone to help us shell. Then we produce one extra job and more income. So that is how important value addition is in all this.
Florence, you did mention earlier on and talked about non-traditional exports, which for a long time in Zambia have not really done that well. And I'd like maybe to find out from you, why is this, or why has this been the case? And what should be done practically and realistically speaking to ensure that the issue of non-traditional exports stops being something that is always talked about, but we see that non-traditional exports, starts to improve?
I think the problem is that we've always seen non-traditional exports to be the raw materials. So we like to export raw maize, we like to export raw soybeans, but these cannot bring in the value that comes with, for example, a bag of maize versus a bag of feed. Currently, if someone has to sell a 50 kg bag of maize, they're selling it at 150. But for a 50 kg bag of stock feed, it's being sold at 500 kwacha. Why? Because of that extra value that has been added along the way. So for non-traditional exports to grow, we need to move away from exporting raw materials to exporting items whose value has been added to. And that in itself speaks to manufacturing and processing and value addition as a key point to help us move from the point where we have always been to a better place.
Mr. Pethius Mundia is joining us from Kabanana, Lusaka. Good evening, Mr. Mundia. Kambani Vimveka.
Oh, okay. Tifuna kundrama za kunapsa.
Okay.
Akatika mbireko at least maize anakama utiko yotengeramo yapaki yachazani. Nikutari kuja at least montoro usitako vinango at least akatika mbirako ungatengeko ili onsoro hafa sensako vinango. Ndiye ndafuna tumatika mbirako amene chani. Wachitako feva kunapsa.
Okay, Mundia Sikomo. Interesting submission over there from Mr. Mundia, calling for possible reforms where the pensions, the National Pensions Scheme Authority, NAPSA, is concerned. But of course, those are areas that, all culminate into the general expectations that Zambians have. Florence, allow me to come back to you and, of course, draw the attention of the 17.5 million Zambians that are watching me right now to an 11-year-old girl from Kalomo who is a talented sculptor. Her name is Bathsheba Hantali. This girl is talented, and this is what she's capable of doing in the following clip. Let's take a look.
At 11 years old, she is an upcoming sculptor. Her works have captured a home village in Kalomo district in Southern Province. This is Bathsheba Hantali. Unlike other children over age who look forward to attending school, for her being in this structure made by her father, doing her artwork takes up her time. Bathsheba shares the story of her artworks and how she is generating income for the family. "11-year-old Bathsheba has never been to school. A single-parent father hopes the new government promise of free education will benefit her."
Okay, twagumba. Into have pangi, have plastic, kumbuli. Nga kutoperera, makompo mamoba soera, kutoperera. Nga yaba into yitoraga indi maningi, kamba uti hirashupa wibujana. Mohijanika hirashupa. So utiwa janika utiwa baba mwibantu bamukwahiriha, uhabupanya. Ngandi yabutinga yabaga botunga mulimo agwaswitira mbwe abumbe kwacha. Kambo abutiga yiriga shonto, twayita abutiburega buti bantu kababora bogoranga mahara. Kaba musira gashonto buyo urunka kaswite dibo apanga menda wanywa ndisa mbonyo bora maswiti wali yote kwali ngekukomana.
Her neighbors are mesmerized with her works.
From the time nagabora twali kubona bo into yagali kuchita so titwaninga ba consent utino chinzi chitora kusena mu museum yawo bakapanga mu utino chinzi chiriwo then ali mwimbuko tonzi uliko mukati mwe so bayojana wamba kuti oyo mwana mushonto oyo ula vision ya kuti umbera mazuva ingawa kuba muntu uwo hawiha ibe hina mbuli ma atuntu otwande nanje kuti omuntu omupatingo wakataiwa kuti no mwana munino muzezwa muhogo wakujana
talent njaji simwana obuli dewo bantu bakonya kumsupport utego mwana yazitire konka kumbere mwana utai unyina bakonya kumugwa ha kuhindu yachita hindu yachita mwana uile kudoberera bokumwa muti banani plastic chani plate ni ama plastic zini munga ja